Hello and welcome, BitMonger family. Monger here. Top of the morning to you guys. Hope you're all doing well. And in today's topic, I want to talk about why Southeast Asia is a good place to go to. Now, I know I've been poking a lot of fun at guys that have been choosing to move to the Philippines, and I want to set the record straight on something here. I read through the comments and I see what people say, and I want to tell you guys, I really appreciate the comments. I know some guys totally disagree with me, and that's okay, but I did see some really good points that some people made, and I want to acknowledge that. So what I want to tell you guys is this. If you're somewhere in Europe, or if you're somewhere in the United States or Canada or wherever you might be, somewhere in the West, and you're an older guy, and you're struggling, and you're having difficulty making ends meet, and you have some sort of Social Security or some sort of pension, then I would say moving to Southeast Asia is a very, very wise move. I mean, if you're really struggling and groveling and not able to eat well, having difficulty paying the rent and such, then by all means, take the risk and move to Southeast Asia. It is just it's just smart. Now, if you're a homeowner, but you're still struggling because, let's face it, property taxes, costs of living are going up, and it's going to continue, guys. The governments are debasing our currencies, which is causing more and more inflation. So this problem is only going to get worse. So it's a really wise move to a place to where you get more bang for your buck, or what have you. And if you're a homeowner, this is what I would recommend. If you actually do own your property, I would say, come on a holiday, come check it out, tour around, see where you like, and then make a decision. Don't sell everything and move over here without coming over here first and checking it out and making sure that it is going to work for you. Because let's face it, it's not for everybody. Some people can't stand the heat. They miss their friends. Maybe they got family there. They got grandkids. What have you. And I understand that. And that's those are good reasons to stay. I mean, if you're really tight with your family, and that's your joy of spending time with them, and you do it often, I think doing it often is important. Look at it from that kind of perspective. If you're not really hanging out with your friends much, or if you're not spending time with your family, your grandkids, or this type of stuff, then it's probably a wise move to come over here. I always think in practical terms of, like, in those cases, like, how much of something do I really use? Utilitarian type thinking of, if I'm not really using it a lot, then it might not be something that you want to, factor in too much. And I would look at it that way. Also, if you're a property owner, I wouldn't sell the property anytime soon. I would rent it out in this case and use that to pad your living costs over here. And because things could go south, maybe you change your mind later, and having hard assets is a good idea. And once you know that it's a good fit and you like it and you want to free up that money, then by all means, if you need the money and it's going to help you live the baller life over here, then by all means, get rid of it. Everybody is in a different situation. So I can't consult you. You know, I'm just speaking in broad terms because, let's face it, we all are in different stages of our life, and we have different values, things that we hold near and dear, and that is going to be different between everybody, and also your financial status and how much you have coming in, or how much net wealth you have, how much you can pull off of that in your retirement. But by all means, guys, every time I go back and I look at, when I go back to the States, I do see how people are struggling. Luckily, my siblings, they've done well. And so I don't really see it with my family that much, but I do see it, you know, I got eyes, and I look around and I can see that a lot of people are really hurting. And it's sad to see, but it's the reality of the matter. So I would make the move. One guy had mentioned to me, because I had called, you know, the guys that are moving to the Philippines, you know, Philistines and losers. And a guy had commented, and he had said, the real losers are the people that stay in their country and are in poverty. And I absolutely agree with that guy. I absolutely agree with you. Now, I prefer Southeast Asia for numerous reasons, primarily just because I've been in Asia since my early 20s, and it just feels like home to me now. It feels more like home to me than the United States. I've been here that long. But there's other places out there. And someone had asked me in the comment section, well, BitMonger, you know, where would you go? You know, in these cases. And my number one preference is Thailand. And that's why I live here. That's why I've spent so much time here. I own properties here, and I've made my life here. But I've spent significant time in all around the world, primarily in Southeast Asia. But if I wasn't going to be going to Southeast Asia, and I was looking at, let's say, maybe South America, I like Uruguay. Uruguay looks like a really good place, and a really nice alternative. They have easy ways in which you can get residency there. You can buy property. They have a good medical system. They call it like the Switzerland of South America. They have a very strong banking system. Crime rate is low compared to other countries. Fairly good infrastructure. It looks like a very interesting place. Next on that list, I like Chile. I spent quite a bit of time in Chile, actually. That's a whole nother story. But I'm not too familiar with what the visa issues are there and how that works out, but that would be a country that I would look into if I was considering going there. I am interested in Colombia, but honestly, the crime rate and all the sketchiness that happens there, I just wouldn't consider it at this stage. So Uruguay, Chile are my top spots. And in Uruguay, it's quite close to Argentina. And Buenos Aires looks fantastic. It's a place that you could go travel down to easily. And the architecture there looks fantastic. So that would be a place. I would be based in Uruguay, and I would take trips down to Argentina and have fun down there. The women also look, they're very beautiful. You have a lot of Italian, German mixtures in there, so there's some quite lovelies if you're into that type of. I mean, I'm not discriminatory. If a woman's beautiful, I don't care where she comes from. Beauty's beauty. But Argentina looks pretty damn good. Now, if I was thinking about Europe, the places that come to mind from the little that I've looked at it, I've considered moving to or getting a second home over in Europe, and I was looking at Greece, I was looking at Croatia, and I was looking at Portugal. And they all have their, good points and bad points. But they look like interesting countries, nice food, interesting culture, beautiful scenery. So that's if I was going to be moving to Europe right now, those would be the 3 destinations that I would be looking at. Dalmatian coast there along Croatia just looks amazingly beautiful. But right now, if I were just to pick one of them, I would probably be considering Greece. But, look into it, guys. There's a ton of options out there, and it's a big world, and there's a lot of places that you can go to make your life better if you're willing to make that jump. And I strongly recommend you do it if you are struggling back at home in your home country there in England, anywhere in Europe, Western Europe, I should say, or back in the States, North America. It's very easy. I'm not too keen on Central America, but if I was going to go there, I might consider Costa Rica. But I don't know. It's never been a big attraction to me. The reason why I would pick Costa Rica, though, is due to their solid government, infrastructure, hospitals, and they also have a nice surfing destinations down there. And I'm a big ocean guy, and I love the beach, so that would be a place that I would consider as well if I wanted someplace closer to, family back in the States. Anyways, you're not a loser by any means by moving for getting more bang for your buck and having a better life. It's something that I strongly consider all of you guys doing if you are not in a good place back at home. It's just, you'll be surprised. For example, here in Thailand, everything is about 1/3 the price, depending on what you buy, of course. But generally speaking, housing, it can be as cheap as you want it to be. I mean, you can really go down there if you want to, but I would say, generally speaking, you can get a nice studio apartment in some place for around $300. The same thing back in home. It's probably going to cost you anywhere between $1,200 to $2,000, depending on what city you live in. So huge savings there. Certain things like cheese or Western foods, sometimes they can be the same. In some cases, they might even be a little bit more expensive. So, but, Thai food is fantastic. Eat the local food, the fruits, this type of stuff. Treat yourself to Western foods, occasionally, or make them your own. And it's quite nice. All right, guys, there you have it. Hope you're all doing well. And BitMonger on.